Hey guys! Alright, welcome back to the art room. I'm Mrs. Ash, and today we are going to be doing some material exploration. What does that mean? Material exploration I like to do lots and lots and lots of times throughout the year when we're in our classroom together, and I thought we would do it while we were at home. Material exploration means we are going to explore all the possibilities of one of our materials. So one of our materials is crayons, and I know everybody has it at their house, so we are going to be exploring all the different ways we can use a crayon. Okay, so your job right now is to grab some crayons, grab something to draw with, or grab something to draw on, and I'm gonna flip my camera around and we are going to do some crayon exploration together. All right, the first one that we are gonna try out, the first thing we're gonna explore is value. Okay, value is something that we talk about when we are talking about color usually. And value is the lightness or the darkness of a color. And we create value with crayon by pressing down really hard and then letting up on the pressure. And that can create a dark shade of the crayon or a lighter tint. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna pick one color. I have regular crayons. I also have twisty crayons. I like both. You can try whichever one you have at your house. So I'm gonna try to press really, really hard with my crayon, and I'm just gonna go do some lawnmower coloring, all in the same direction, okay? That's lawnmower coloring, side to side or up and down, all the same, okay? So that's really, really dark coloring for my crayon. And now I'm going to do really, really light. Up and down the same way. So same color, look how different the value is. Really dark, really light. I'm gonna try and do a medium value on the inside. So that's tricky. It's gonna be a mixture. So it's gonna be a little bit harder than this one and a little bit softer than this one. So I'll start out kind of soft. And let's see, maybe a little bit more. There we go. That's called a value scale when it goes from one to the next. So dark, medium, and then light. You could even keep going and try making it even lighter. Look at that value scale, dark to light. Pretty cool. Okay, so that's our first exploration with crayons. That's called value. All right, let's put our next one on here. This one is going to be contrast, showing contrast with your crayons. And we're gonna do this. Let's see, contrast. We are going to do it the same type of way as we did with this one, with using pressure, how hard we press something. But let's act like we were drawing a picture. So I'm gonna do a shape. I'm gonna really dark, make a shape, really press down hard. So I'm outlining it dark, and then to add contrast, which means to make something stand out next to another one, is I'm going to lightly fill in the shape. That adds contrast. These two are different. One is really dark, one is really light. It makes your picture a little bit interesting. Okay, let's try to do it again. Let's make one really dark and then fill it in lightly. Outline something really dark and fill it in lightly. Let's try. Maybe I'm going to make a star really dark, and I'm going to fill it in lightly. That's pretty cool. Okay, so that's our contrast. Alrighty, let's try, oh, that's weird, all those little lines are going over it. Let's try something called stippling. Stippling. This could also be called, I'm gonna write it small because it's a long word, pointillism. That's a type of art where the artist fills in the space with dots instead of solid color. Okay, so if you wanted to do stippling, you would take your crayon and instead of filling in a space with a solid fill-in like one of these, you're going to do it with little dots. Okay, and lots of artists do that. An artist that's really famous for it is George Seurat. He always uses stippling. Okay, so let's just add some stippling here. It's when you make little dots and you do them over and over and you repeat that pattern of dots. And you can fill in a space with that. And so that just adds a little bit more interest to your picture. So if you're tired of filling something in completely, try filling it in with stippling. Ooh, that's fun. I like that. Okay, let's see. Let's make a stippled house. So I'm outlining it. Okay, now I'm going to fill it in with stippling. That's pretty neat. So stippling creates a texture. And we're going to use that word a ton in art, and we've talked about it lots and lots of times. But if this is your first time hearing the word texture, a texture is the way something feels. Okay, and so you can create visual texture by making it look like it feels a certain way. So this sort of looks like it feels rough or bumpy because of all those dots, but it doesn't really feel like that. It just looks like that by what I added on it. By that visual texture we created. I'm gonna put stripes on here. And stripes in here. So that's pretty cool. We can use patterns and stippling to create a texture. Or it also just adds more interest to my drawing instead of filling it in the normal way with a solid color. All right, so we tried value. We tried contrast. We tried stippling or pointillism. Let's see, what else could we try? We are going to try blending. Blending, and we're also going to try layering. We'll do layering first, and then we'll try blending. Okay, layering is when we place a color down and we place another color right on top. So layer is when you have one section here or one color and we put one right over top of the other one, okay? Like a layers of a cake, or when your mom or dad or family member says, you need to add more layers on, you're gonna be cold outside. Maybe you put on a sweatshirt and you put on a jacket. Those are different layers. Okay, so I'm gonna take this purple crayon. I'm gonna lay that down. I'm doing all the same way of coloring side to side. And now I'm gonna take another crayon and place that one over top. I like to try and think of what colors, you see me over here thinking, what do I want? What would look good? So I like to place colors that are near each other on the color wheel together. And I know purple and blue are near each other on the rainbow or color wheel. So now I'm gonna place blue on top. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, do you see how that makes an indigo, a blue, purple? That's pretty, and you can even put the purple back over top of it again. I love color mixing with crayons. That's pretty. Let's try another one. Let's do colors that are far away on the color wheel and see what they make. All right, so I know green and red are across the color wheel from each other. And so we lay some green down. Let's put some red over top. Let's see. In paint, when you add a color across the color wheel from another color, on top of one, you get brown. Let's see if we can get brown. Pretty close, right? Red and green together make brown. There's lots of ways to make brown. This is one of them. Look at that. That's pretty neat. That's a cool color of brown I made. Okay, so that's layering when we put them on top. Okay, let's try that blending one I said. I wanted to do layering first because blending is really similar. So blending is when you take two colors, you place them away from each other, and then as they get closer together, we're gonna slowly mix them. Okay, let's try magenta and orange. So I have orange over here, I have magenta over here. Hoping that's showing up good, I'm working. Now I'm gonna go lightly with magenta, or lightly with orange. And now I'm gonna do lightly with magenta. Let's see if we can get it to look like they're blending together. Ooh, it does. Put a little bit more orange over here. So sometimes it takes a couple tries. Sometimes I press down with orange. Now I'm gonna try pressing down with magenta. It's pretty neat. Ooh, look at that. Doesn't it look like the orange is sort of melting into the magenta? Let's try it again. I'm gonna try turquoise, this blue-green color. Let's place it. Let me turn this way. All right, I'm gonna do some blue-green. I'm gonna press down hard over here. And I'm gonna slowly let up, let up, let up, let up. Don't press too hard. So hard over here, and I'm slowly gonna make it a little bit lighter. Now I'm gonna take green. I'm gonna press down hard over here. And I'm gonna slowly let up. So now I have that green on top of that blue. Ooh, do you see them melting into each other? Let's try it here. Press down lightly. I'm gonna slowly put a little blue on that green. Color melt. I love a good color melt, color blend. Look at that, green and blue. And then in the center here, I put both of the colors. That is a color blend. That's pretty cool. All right, let's look at what we've tried so far with crayons. We have tried our value scale. That's where we press down really hard and we slowly let up on the pressure, which means go a little lighter, and really light down here. We have tried contrast, where we press down hard right next to a space where we go really light. That's a nice way to fill in some things. I've seen a lot of people fill in their pictures like this. They outline around the edge and they fill in lightly in the center. We've tried stippling or pointillism, and that's where we use dots to fill in spaces, right? And then we tried layering and blending. Layering is when we place a color right on top of another color, like this one. Oh, let's try three. Should we put a third color on top of this? Maybe you could try layering many, many colors. Should we try that? Let's do 5 colors layered on top. Magenta, red, blue. Ooh, that's actually a really cool color. Purple, green. Ooh, it's starting to get so waxy it maybe isn't taking any more colors. I'll try to add yellow on. So that's, I think, 6 colors on top of each other. I'm trying to move it in so you can see it. Pretty cool, huh? All right, so let's see how many colors you can layer on top of each other. All right, now let's see. This is one of my favorite techniques with crayon that we could try. I'll bring my vocab paper in. Ah, Mrs. Ash, we can barely read it all. The troubles of trying to film teach, right? Okay, this one we call texture rubbing. Texture rubbing. We do this at school a lot with texture plates. And those have specific textures on them that when we rub our crayon over top of it, the texture shows through on our paper, okay? Now, we don't have those at our houses. Most people wouldn't have that at their house, so we'll use something else this time to show textures. But remember, the texture is the feel of something. So when you take something and you place it, I'm gonna take this baggie. I thought this might be kind of neat. When you take something that has a feeling to it, a surface feels rough or it feels bumpy or it feels smooth, and you place it underneath your paper, we're gonna try to get that texture from underneath to show up on our paper here by putting crayon over it. It really only works with something that's thin, thin enough that you can put it under your paper and still draw on top of it. So if you're trying to put like a Lego under there, that might not work. You have to have something that's kind of skinny or thin. Okay, so let's see if we can make this bag show up. Oh yeah, I'm starting to see it. Can you see that bump right there, that ridge from the baggie show up on my paper? That's called a rubbing. That texture is showing up on my picture. Oh, look, I can even see the dotted spot right here. Do you see that? That's so neat. Look at that, really cool. Okay, so that worked pretty good. I'm gonna try something else. I thought I could try money. Okay, let's try the money over here. We have more room. Money might move while I try to draw, but I'll try my best. I'm trying to press it down underneath my paper. And now I'm gonna try to, let's do blue. Oh, yes, it's working. I wasn't sure. I thought they might slide around under there. You can't see it perfectly, but look, you can even see, oh yeah, that's actually pretty good. Worked out pretty cool. All right, I found this, it's like a gift card. I thought I could see if I could make the edges of this gift card show up underneath. Let's see. So you place it underneath, and then you see the line showing up? I can. Now, a lot of times for a rubbing, you might take the paper off of your crayon. That works pretty good too. So what I mean is, you would take the paper off here, like that, and then you place your items underneath. Let's try this. This is a piece of paper that has a cut edge. Let's see if that would work underneath. I don't know if it's thick enough to make a difference. But then you would hold this down with 2 fingers and you'd rub it onto your paper. And oh my goodness, it is working. Look at that. The edge of that paper showed up on here. How cool is that? All right, so those are texture rubbing. So see if in your house you can find something that has a texture on it, which means it feels, the surface feels different than just something that's perfectly smooth. And then if it's thin enough, try and place it under your paper and see if you can get it to show up. So a baggie, so even just a cut piece of paper works well. All right, set aside the money. Okay, so we tried out texture, we tried out value and stippling and blending and layering and contrast. Wow, I think I pretty much filled up my entire paper with different ways to use crayon. So I am excited, let's pull this back a little, to see how you're gonna use crayon. I want you to try out these different ways and then take a picture. Look at my project. Does it look like anything specific? No, it's just practicing on here. Okay, so you can do the same on yours. Alrighty, so go ahead and work on your coloring. Maybe you worked on it while I was working on mine, that's just fine. Try out these different things on a piece of paper like I did here. And then send it to me and let me see your cool crayon exploration. I'm excited to see how you used crayons at your house. All right, see you guys next week.